Howdy folks, now it's election time, so everyone's online debating politics in Facebook comment sections and posting videos of their political views. I'm doing exactly the same. I love it. I love political debate. As long as you're civil and grown up, I love having political debate. It's great. But one thing that really frustrates me is people with social media followings, people with large YouTube channels that just put out pure lies and just throw out opinions off the top of their head with not a single shred of research on the topic. So I'm going to take a look at one of those videos today, and we are going to watch Andy the Gabby Cabby. It's about this. This is about immigration.
Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're well. Thank you for joining me once again. Well, I'm sitting here thinking of all the things that could be better in this country. Now, when you say this country, you refer to either England, where I am, Northern Ireland, Wales, Scotland, if that's how you see
Yeah,
yourself,
right. We know
or
what the
the
United
whole
Kingdom is, Andy. Come on.
landmass, the whole union, the United Kingdom. We've got uncontrolled numbers coming in here. We've got crime rates through the roof, literally. Cost of living, property prices, the cost of I could sit here and depress you thoroughly thinking about all this stuff. Now, what is one of the main issues that this election is going to be fought on? What
Homelessness, cost of living, child poverty, the amount of people reliant on food banks, NHS waiting times, horrendous. Basically, all of the damage that the last 14 years of Tory government has done. Council funding, take your pick. that's what I'm concerned about, Andy. Let's see what you are.
what matters? Well, we have a situation where the priorities are all wrong. All of the money seems to go on other countries, other places, other equipment, and other individuals coming in.
Okay, the first lie, 1 minute into the video, the first lie comes up. The majority of money, the majority of UK government spending goes on other people. Again, I mean, should we do some research? Should we take a look? Just a quick Google search. Should we just have a look at that? Okay, UK government spending 2022 to 23. Healthcare, massive. Healthcare is increasing massively at the moment because we have an aging population. In the last 5 years, I saw the stat that we've gone from 7 million people over the age of 65 to 11 million. We've got an aging population. One thing, ironically, that immigration is trying to tackle, we're not having kids at the same rate in this country. We need to pay for these people's healthcare. We need to pay for their pensions. So immigration is vastly helping out with that. Social security, pensions, social security, working and aged children, education, national debt, defence, transport, public order and safety, policing, long-term care, healthcare for elderly. See, already there, UK spending 2/3, and we haven't even touched on giving money out to people abroad or other people. So your stat is already bullshit, Andy. Now, so we've got housing and amenities. So I guess some asylum housing would be coming out of that. Overseas aid. You've got your little chunk there of spending on other people. I agree. I mean, this one here, other, is a little bit shady, isn't it? This big section, yeah, it's just other. We just spend on other. But I guess a big chunk out of there. I mean, we are spending a hell of a lot of money for Ukraine, but I mean that is obviously needed. Anyone with any common sense would know that if Russia take over the whole of Ukraine, we will have to up our military spending by billions. If we live in a world where Russia control Ukraine and have got their eye on Lithuania, Estonia, the whole of the Western democracies will have to up their military spending by billions. So in the long run, we're saving money by spending now than a world where Russia controls Ukraine. So yeah, sorry Andy, but that's not true, baby. Just pluck that stat straight out your arsehole, didn't you? With not a single shred of evidence or research.
Seems to go on other countries, other places, other equipment, and other individuals coming in. So you end up in a situation where we start thinking about immigration. Now, in my view, you look at the Conservatives and you look at Labour, you look at all the promises, really, that have been made by the Conservatives over the past several years. And I don't only refer to Sunak, I refer to Cameron, I refer to Johnson too, and probably before that, none of which have ever been kept. We've all been filibustered and bullshitted till the cows come home.
Andy, I 100% agree with you, mate. The last 14 years of Tory government has basically developed a country that is completely dependent on foreign workers. One of the biggest chunk of migrant workers coming into the country is the NHS. One of the most disastrous things the Tories ever done was in 2011 when they got rid of the nursing bursaries. We used to pay to train British citizens. If you were a British citizen, you wanted to become a nurse, we'd train you for free. Tories got rid of that. They have built a country that is completely dependent on foreign workers. And then, of course, you have Brexit. You know, we could somewhat deal with that lack of British nurses with a constant cycle of people from Spain, Italy, Portugal that could come in. We cut that out. We cut that away. So now we're solely dependent on nurses from Philippines, India, Nigeria. The Tories have refused to give these guys a pay rise in line with inflation over the last 10 years. So what incentives is there to become a nurse if you're a British citizen? You've got to get yourself saddled with debt at uni, because we won't pay for your training, to then enter a job that is badly paid, long hours, and incredibly difficult to do. So yeah, the Tories have been disastrous, and they have upped immigration triple since the last Labour government.
And if you think that it's going to get any better under Labour, oh no. I was sent a thing through which had Keir Starmer's face on it, and it had "Dear me and my wife," and one of the big bullet point lists of everything they're going to do, everything they're going to accomplish. Not going to happen. And there was an immigration defence command or some flashy thing like that. Oh, piss off, Starmer. You know, we're not falling for it. And this is the thing. We need to.
Yeah, but why though? I mean, I get proof is in the pudding. You know, it needs to get. I mean, Labour, when they come in, got a massive task to do to undo 14 years of the most corrupt government we've ever had. They got a hell of a task ahead of them. But if you just look at what the two parties are proposing, Labour are proposing the obvious solution to the small boat problem, which is build an asylum centre in France so people can claim asylum in France. Instantly should stop border crossings straight away and up border force to tackle small boat. It's the obvious solution. I mean, if they, like I said, proof is in the pudding, sure. But if you look at the alternative of what the Tories have been offering, I mean, straight away they brought us Brexit, which accelerated this problem. Back in 2021, there's no coincidence that border crossings shot up when we came out of the EU, because we used to deal with this problem as a collective. France now have got no obligation to do anything about border crossings, because little old England wanted to say, oh, we'll deal with all this stuff on our own. We don't need the EU. We'll deal with everything on our own, because we still think we're some incredible great empire that can deal with all these problems. It's much more efficient, and it worked much better when we were all in the EU and we dealt with this problem as a collective. But now we've shut off all legal means to come over to this country, which is why people are desperate getting in dinghies and trying to cross the channel. And then the Tories' big scheme is to spend £1 billion on Rwanda. So not tackling any of the problems of these people coming over on dinghies, not trying to stop that, but just letting them come, just let them come. And then when they get here, we'll put them on planes to Rwanda. We'll spend £1 billion. We've got to house them over in Rwanda, and then we're going to have to take some people from Rwanda as well. Some of the ones they can't deal with, like the mentally ill ones and stuff like that. Come on. I mean, if you look at the two parts, I agree with you. Proof is in the pudding. Labour have got to put this into effect once they get in. But I've got a lot more trust in the obvious common sense approach of an asylum centre in France and just upping border force. Spend that £1 billion on border force. I mean, it's a few dinghies. Jesus Christ. With Great Britain, weren't we supposed to have seen off the Luftwaffe? We can't deal with a few dinghies crossing the channel. Of course we can, because this is the thing. The Tories want this problem. This is the only way that they can win an election, because people, probably like yourself, Andy, still think that Labour cannot deal with borders, immigration, even though it's been proven over the last 14 years that the Tory party have been far worse with this problem and have upped immigration far more than the previous Labour government. But Labour still get tarred with this brush as the open borders party. That's why the Tories will never really sort out this problem of border crossings, because they need it. They can't win the next election on the economy or the NHS or housing or any of these things. The only thing they could possibly win it on is immigration.
Wake up. We need to not fall for it. And you see here, Rwanda planning disarray as more than 10,000 migrants crossed the channel in small boats this year. And we're not even in June yet. We're literally a week, if that, away from June. And they keep coming despite all the promises. So it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And I wonder if somebody like Reform were to get a chance, they're very much, it's going to stop. They are advertising a freeze on immigration. Now, Richard Tice advertises net zero immigration, which effectively means one in, one out. No, that's just not going to wash with the British people. It needs to be a complete freeze on everything, at least till we find out what's going on.
Not going to wash with the British people. Do you represent the British people, Andy? Do you? Complete freeze on immigration. So you actually want to go harder. Richard Tice is putting out this bonkers policy of one in, one out, but you just want a complete freeze on immigration. The thing is with people like Richard Tice is Richard Tice can promise the world because he's never ever going to get in power. Two of his policies from Reform Party is cutting NHS waiting times and a one in, one out policy on immigration. Now, those two policies are impossible to enact both of those. They both counteract each other. Like I say, the thing is with Richard Tice, he can say these things. He's never going to get in power. If he was in power, his first day in power, he'd get a knock on the door from someone saying, right, we've currently got 20,000 vacancies in the NHS. Shall I start the process of looking abroad to fill these nursing vacancies? I kind of promised a one in, one out policy on immigration, so we're going to have to wait for 20,000 people to leave before we do that. Oh shit, really? Okay. But didn't you also promise that you're going to get the waiting times down in the NHS? Yeah. Yeah, I did. How are we going to get waiting times down without the nurses? Yeah, shit. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work. And you can say, look, I mean, you can say, okay, well, we'll bring back the nursing bursaries that I talked about. We'll start training British citizens to become nurses. I'm all for that. I'm all for that. I'm all for a programme of going across the whole country, all deprived areas of the country, getting decent, well-paid apprenticeships for kids to learn these skills, and nursing being one of them. Let's pay for them. But this sort of programme, it doesn't come into fruition for 5-10 years. What are you going to do right now, Richard Tice? Right now, what are we going to do? We've got 20,000 vacancies for nurses. It's potty. It's ridiculous. You can't do it in the real world. And the thing is, the problem it's the thing with immigration is people like Andy just get absolutely obsessed with illegal immigration. Illegal immigration makes up like 4% of immigration as a whole. It's such a small amount.
What do you think it's about? Immigration or anything else? Let me know in the comments. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. There's a way.
Thing is, but he seems like a decent bloke, to be honest. I'm sure he's a nice guy, and I think he probably is. But he just do some research on some of your topics, mate. Just honestly, just do some research other than whatever you're getting your news from. I don't. Just do a little bit of research. Anyway, folks, if you enjoyed the video, click a like. If you haven't subscribed, you can subscribe up top, and there'll be another video. You can check that out as well. It does frustrate me. It really does. Please, guys, please, people, before you put your crap out, just do a little bit of research on your topics. That's all I ask. Till next time, take care.